Ah, I first came to New York City in 1998. I was 17 when I first entered the United States with just a passport in my hand because somehow my baggage didn't make it. Now, this bag held all of my possessions at this point. Two pair of pants and two shirts. So I just started laughing and I ended up to meet my new adopted mother. She was standing there with this beaming smile on her face, waiting for me. So we left off to Manhattan with our Chinese food, of course, and a fortune cookie that read, "You are about to have new clothes." I thought to myself, what a great omen. You see, let me tell you a story. I was coming from a country called Sierra Leone. At age 11, a war had started in my country. At 12, my mother, father, and two brothers were killed. At 13, I was a soldier in that same war. War culture can shape every aspect of society. An Unusual Normality by Ishmael Beer. We see how the civil war of Sierra Leone has affected a young Henry Gowen. At 16, I had gone through rehabilitation where I learned how to deal with the memories of war. So from these experiences, I come to the United States to have a chance at living again, because all I had come to know since I was 11 was how to survive. So here I was in New York City with my adopted mother. Now I need to get to school. But when I went to some of the interviews, I was immediately denied because of the following conversation. Do you have a report card to show you have been in school? And I would say, no, but I have been in school. And I was sitting there thinking to myself, wow, what do these school principals really think? That when there's a war going on in your village, people are being gunned down right in front of you, and you're running for your life. You're thinking to yourself, oh, must take my report card and put it in my pocket. So I decided I was going to write an intro to my essay, and it would be titled, "Why I Do Not Have a Report Card." I was accepted into the United Nations International School, and I was placed into the 11th grade. This began my 2 years of high school, and of course, making others confused about who I was. You see, they would come up to me and say, "Oh, you're such a weird fella." And I'll say, no, my friend. I'm not weird. Weird has a negative connotation to it. I prefer the word unusual. There's a certain sophistication to that word that suits my character. However, I had a problem. Some of the other parents weren't very happy knowing that my background was a school of dead children. However, these other people, I began making friends. Even one of these boys invited a group of us to upstate New York, where his family had the property. Said we were going up there for the weekend to play a game called paintball. I thought to myself, what is that? And of course, they explained the basis of the game to me, and I thought to myself, these boys who pretend to be tough can play it? It must not be that difficult of a game. Early on in the morning, they showed me the weapon, and I allowed them to teach me how to shoot things. But then, they became very macho about it. They were painting their faces, and they were putting on combat gear. they were getting into an idea of war that they knew. As we arrived to the terrain, I instantly began to memorize how many paces it took to get to the house and back. Then I went to the first room, through the spaces between the trees. And all of this is out of habit, because where I come from, this skill set can determine whether you live or die. As the games progressed, I snuck up on the boys and I came up behind them. But then the memories of war and what I had gone through, the trauma, it flooded my mind. Shut up, get down, get down! You see, that was all I had. Because that was all war taught me. After the game, the boys, they came up to me and they said, "Oh, you're such a weird guy, but you're definitely a great baseball player." They even called me the man. But I wish I told them about my past early on, because I wanted them to understand how lucky they were to have a mother, father, grandparents, siblings that cared about them so much. How lucky they were to only have to pretend war and never do the real thing. So their naive innocence was something I no longer had the capacity for. The next week at school, they talked about the awesome weekend of paintball we had had. But they never said that I won all of the games. They never even invited me back. But I ever so cherished that day. Because that day, I got to become a kid. That day, I finally got to become a child for once in my life.